Hey everyone, this is Uncaptured Media. I'm Dan Cohen. Today I have a very special interview with someone who I am proud to call a friend. He is a doctor, a surgeon from Gaza who has worked for years in the largest hospital in the Gaza Strip, Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza City, including during the first period of this genocidal assault on Gaza before he was forced, in fact, to head south to save his own life. And eventually he made it out of Gaza before the Israelis destroyed the Rafah crossing into Egypt. And he has since decided to relocate to Lebanon so he could provide medical treatment and his skills to the people of Lebanon, who are, of course, under a devastating Israeli assault now. Dr. Mohammed Ziara, welcome to Uncaptured Media. Thanks a lot for joining.
It's my pleasure to join you, and I'm honored to be a friend of you because I know how much you are doing and the value of what you are doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much. It's I know your sisters well from my time in Gaza. I don't think we ever actually got to meet in person, but over the years, we've gotten to know each other. I mean, we spoke in the 2021 war on Gaza when you were working in Al-Shifa then. So sadly, we haven't been able to meet, but I feel like I've known you for a long time through these difficult periods.
Yeah. I mean, we talked most of the time during escalations and aggression on Gaza. It's really not the best way to communicate or the best time. I hope there will be better times that we can meet and talk together. It's nearly not happening so soon, but I hope it will be end soon.
I hope so. Well, firstly, I want to just give condolences for the loss of your brother Omar, who was mortally wounded in Gaza when I believe an Israeli airstrike struck near him, and he was injured by shrapnel, put into a coma, and he eventually passed away. And then he would have become a father soon after, as his wife was very near to delivering their first child, and since has. So I just want to offer my deepest condolences on that. Firstly.
Yeah, thank you. It was like very hard times, and it was the very beginning of this genocide on Gaza. To be precise, he was like in the house of my aunt, where they forcibly displaced to go there to have like a shelter or some place to be like safe, as they call, like to go to south of the valley of Gaza, and it's supposed like to be better situation or anything like safer than they were originally are in Gaza City. And that airstrike took place in the very next neighbors, the house, just the building next to them, and he was unlucky to be near the explosion at that side of the house, and he got injured in the head, and he spent like 1 week in ICU. It was really a hard time for us, and for me, I knew that the exact situation, the medical situation, was very bad. The medical condition he has, it was like not very hopeful in the normal situation, but in that time, it was impossible to deal with. And yeah, actually, most of my aunt's family, my father, my other brothers, my other brother and cousins, my uncle, they were all four families in the same place, trying to have shelter there, and most of them were taken beneath the rubble, actually, under the rubble, where many, shrapnels, many rubble came through the windows. Half of the side of the house was completely destroyed. The this side was completely destroyed with everything to rubble. And also my cousin's daughter, little daughter, she was like 8 months. She was injured, head trauma. She suffered unbelievable injury, and she spent a long time in the ICU. Luckily, she was, thankfully, she was recovered several weeks later, and she just now outside Gaza, having a complete recovery and rehabilitation after the incidents, and she's doing well now, thankfully.
So let me ask you, there's so much that's happened, I'm sure, on a personal level for you and everything you've experienced over the last 13 plus months. But I want to go back to October 7th, the very beginning. Where were you when the October 7th attack happened? What was your experience then? And of course, the ferocious Israeli assault immediately began, and everything
Yeah,
changed. So, can you take me back to that day?
yeah. I want to take you further earlier, because the period like months before this attack was happened and the escalation was taking place, there was always news and reports, or everyone was talking about a massive destruction coming to Gaza. Massive attack is gonna be like leaving no one to stay there. And it was like spreading the propaganda for everyone to be ready. It's gonna be awful, it's gonna be terrific. And most of the time they were talking about displacement or evacuation of this city, the people of this city, to Sinai. And it was like every now and then this news and talking erupted, and keep fearing people and putting these scenarios in place. And I remember at the night of 7th of October, I was asking my friend about the possibility of going to Egypt for some fellowship in an Egyptian university or Egyptian hospitals. And he was like looking at me at the same night, and he said exactly, and I quote, that he said, "Go, we all going there, like all people of Gaza." So I was wondering what he was meaning by what he meant by that. And the very next day, the morning, we just woke up on this many bombing sound of rockets down and away from Gaza. And the start of it, it was like no one was knowing what's going on, and it was like very devastating, frustrating, and we didn't know what to do. We didn't know what's going on for hours. And then the news came with the whole things which were happening, the attack, and the bombing started all over Gaza, not discriminating anyone. And yeah, I was waiting for the call to the hospital, actually, to be on duty, because in this time we start working in much more intense hours, and we don't leave the hospital most of the time. So my first day wasn't my shift, and the second day I started working in Shifa Hospital. It was, I mean, there's nothing that I can describe with word to what the situation was in the Shifa Hospital, because the number of cases, the number of injured people, the mass casualties, that was, it was horrific. That with the number, with the kind of injury, with the ages of the young children, the young kids. I remember this one, one girl, she came with half of his abdomen. Her abdomen was completely destroyed, and she was alive, and she was put in the corridors because there's no place in the department. It was so all full. The situation, whatever I say, I'm just telling you some of that what I remember. But I was always going through bodies on the or patients on the ground. It was like having difficulty to make my way through patients to see from department to another, and everyone in the floor. I remember this one department that I go through, the corridor of this department, or the corridor of this level of the hospital. It's really hard to breathe. I am trying to breathe, but I couldn't, and I wonder till this moment. I don't know how the people there could breathe. It's really difficult. It's really difficult. And then this department
Was
I
was
was
sorry,
going every day.
was this the it was hard to breathe because of, was it like the smell of bodies, or was it, what was it exactly?
Yes, it was both of smell of the wounds and the dressings and the blood, and the number of the families were taking shelter inside the corridors, either with patients or without. There is no spot you can find to just, or only to stand there. You can't. You just keep go take your steps between the families. The kids are lying down sleeping, or just lying there waiting for anything to happen to stop this. That's since day one, and it kept like 30 or 35, 45 days, I guess, since the start in the until the siege of the hospital. So it this is the minimum challenge that we have faced, because for me, and I am one of many doctors in the department and many surgeons. I had to see 50 or 70 patients in the morning, doing dressing for each of them. That's 70 of the severely wounded, without anesthesia, without painkillers, doing change of dressing for these kids. And these kids were not tolerating the pain, and many of them have like open wounds without dressing. Many of them have bugs or maggots in the wound, because there is no way that we can take care of this number of cases. And then I am like one of 5 or 6 surgeons who had to do the round, and one of them has to see like 50 to 70, and we were, range or distribute the departments on each other every day. And later on, we had to go to the OT, doing surgery to this injured, and it was the simplest thing. It was so hard to bring patients from the ward or this department to our department, because there was no transportation.
Can you say that last part again, the most difficult part of
Yeah, I mean, the simplest part is the how to bring patient to the OT of our department, because that the Shifa medical complex is a huge hospital and many buildings. Basically, we had each building, all of them, just serving and taking care of wounded patients. We didn't have regular departments like medical departments, pulmonary departments, or lung departments, gynecological it's all converted to war related injuries, to take care of these wounded cases, because the huge number. So bringing patients to do surgery inside the department, to bring them by ambulances or trolleys, it was really impossible because every inch of the hospital, even in the corridors and the streets of the hospital, it was all taken shelter by as a shelter by the displaced people, and no one can drive a car through them. And then we had no one to bring them in, like paramedics or the hospital service employees. So we had to ask people who can bring the patient to the OT, to our department. He can come. Whoever can't do that, we can't help him. So this is the part of the triage to select patients. So we first prioritize the most urgent cases to deal with according to the injury, and then we decide when while talking to patients who can bring them in will come. Whoever can't do that, who doesn't have the ability to move or don't have anyone to take him, he have to find a way. Until he find a way, we can't bring him in. So this is the simplest. We didn't have many staff, and many of them couldn't come from the south and from other places. It was cut and all, or even killed with his family. We had four of our staff killed. Two surgeon, one nurse, and one physiotherapy. Has been three nurses actually. Two surgeons, three nurses, and one physiotherapist. They were killed during this attack. So we had a lot of shortages. We didn't have anesthetist, so we had to bring anesthesia assistant to help with the anesthesia. So that's a bit of the horrific situation we were facing in there. But whatever I say, it will be more and more and more.
Do you mind saying the names of these doctors and nurses who were killed
Yeah,
from Al-Shifa for the record to have their
yeah,
names?
yeah, absolutely. It was two surgeons, Dr. Ahmed Maqadma and Dr. Midhat Saidam. They are two of our lead surgeons in the department. Two of the one therapist is Mohammed Darwish, and two nurses. It was Tamer Ma'bad, and the other guy is I don't really remember the name, but he is one of the volunteers came to help us during the war from the day one, even 1 week before. So we had trainees coming and go. So he's the other guy. These are just from our department actually, and I don't know what happens to the rest because now they are a lot, and I don't have communication with all of them. Every now and then I hear that someone was missing or someone was killed during a strike with his labor. I mean, one of my colleague in the department have lost his elder son, my only son. So I've just learned that just 1 month ago. It was like several months ago. So yeah, you lose track to the numbers and the names and the people. You can't figure it out, or you can't keep like in contact with everyone. With there's so much difficulty with communication and so much going on there. So yeah, there was a lot of losses of the medical staff in our hospital.
Absolutely, and this is not, of course, not the first time. I mean, I remember in 2021, I interviewed you about, among other things, the killing of Dr. Ayman
I
Alof,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yes,
and
yes.
then in this war, the at least the most prominent physician from Al-Shifa Hospital to be killed, and of course, among many who were disappeared into the Israeli torture, rape, murder prisons, um,
Right.
was Dr.
Yeah,
Adnan Al-Bursh.
yeah.
Um, did you work with Dr. Bursh? Can you say anything about him?
Yeah, actually, Dr. Adnan was a special, a special one because he was a brave doctor, a good one, really a good orthopedist, and he was like friend for everyone. He was, I'm not even in his department, and I didn't, work close with them, but I was seeing him every day, and every time I see him, he was so kind, friendly, and he was always like saying to me, "Hey, Captain," because we both were. He used to do sports, and I was, sometimes I was doing sport, and he was like we had this little chats every day, every now and then, together about sport, about nutrition, sometime, and he was so kind, and I mean his students were loving him, and he was a good one of the best orthopedists in the hospital, and he was responsible for many projects and innovation of the department of orthopedics. So he was a well known one. He's just not was a physician that who treats who was treating patients and doing his work. He also was caring and loving everyone, and tried to have a special connection with everyone. It was really a big loss to the Gaza and the medical field.
I interviewed a man who was taken into Sde Teman by the Israelis. He was detained there and tortured, and eventually he was released, though severely. He was damaged mentally, of course, as well as physically, and he described actually how Dr. Adnan Al-Bursh had a sort of a very big impact on his fellow prisoners, and providing them with as much as he could, as much support and strength to stay sane inside these torture chambers. And of course, he was killed in Sde Teman. There's a report that he was actually raped to death. So again, this is just the absolute horrors, the unbelievable horrors that Gaza, and particularly, I mean, everyone in Gaza, but it's there seems to be a particular um, desire to kill the medical staff. I mean, which is part of Israel's strategy to make Gaza completely unlivable. So while you were working in Al-Shifa, the Israeli propaganda machine was saying that there's a Hamas command center under Al-Shifa hospital, and that's why we have to invade it and put it under siege and everything. So, um, I mean, were you seeing this propaganda campaign, or were you just blocking this out because you were so busy focused on, trying to save lives?
Yeah, let me tell you about this propaganda first, because I was always like wondering why they are doing that, why they are targeting hospitals, and there is absolutely no evidence or no way that the workers of Al-Shifa Hospital and other hospitals, we have never seen anything like that. We have never seen anything that might like consider just a little bit of that, what they are saying. We never seen, and it's not allowed for anyone to carry a weapon in the Shifa hospital or any hospital, other hospital. So this was like a very strange propaganda, and it was like question that we all trying to ask them ourselves, and trying to find answer for that. And then I think they were just doing that to just kill and destroy the last resort that they can reach, or to reach there, and to just don't allow anybody to take shelter inside the hospital. So they have announced this hospitals as a command center, or whatever they say, as a military place or something, have any activity, to just justify targeting it and destroy it, and then no one can stay there. This, I think, this is the main reason they started with hospitals. And by hitting the last line, the last red line of the humanity rights, whatever you do then it's gonna be like easy for anyone to accept. If you accept hitting hospitals and you accept destroying, the last thing can anyone can imagine that someone would hit or really targeting it, it will be easy to you to accept killing people inside mosque, inside their homes, inside once the idea or the scene you see on the television or on the social media or whatever or whenever on the news, and it becomes like regular news every day, you will like lose the importance or the horrific meaning of that, and then you can adapt to it. So that's what they are trying to do. So to get back to your question, and sorry, can you really repeat it, the point
No,
you are
that's
trying?
okay. I think you make actually a very important point that as much as attacking the hospitals is about destroying the society and making Gaza, well, in the words of one of the top Giora Island, the Israeli top advisor who came up with the general's plan, this ethnic cleansing of the north. I mean, he said early on that Gaza should be a place that no one can live. So of course you destroy the
The
hospitals would
main,
be
yeah,
exactly. And so, but I think when you look at how that propaganda campaign was put out about this supposed command center in an effort to justify or create a debate around the legitimacy of destroying a hospital, it's an assault on people psychologically, on all of us, myself and journalists and people watching on the outside, to force us to accept this. And when we saw the attack on Al-Ahli hospital, the Baptist hospital, when the Israelis claimed
yeah,
that this was a rocket from the resistance that did it, and that was a lie. Well, after that, after it was accepted, then it became the Israelis targeted every hospital, and there was no question about it, and it became accepted. So I think you're making a very important point. But I mean, I was sort of asking about how you're working in the hospital as a doctor, you're seeing the most horrific conditions beyond anything anyone can imagine day after day. They're claiming this is a Hamas command center, and they put like um, a cartoon. I don't know if you ever saw this, but it was like a graphic
yeah, yeah,
video,
yes,
uh, and
yeah.
it's
So
complete. Go ahead. Hmm.
yeah, so particularly this scene with the 3D or graphically was putting on about the tunnels or the command center in the hospital, and that was the clue or the evidence they show to everyone, like we did a design of the tunnels and the command center with some graphics, and that's the evidence. And I was particularly remember I remember this scene when I was going to do the round, the check on the do the dress change of dressing for my patient in the main building in the Shifa hospital. And I really remember this scene when I was standing before I leave to that building, because my department was like separate building from the main building, and we had patients everywhere. And I stopped looking at the screen where they have this interview and the announcement by the spokesman of the occupation army. And he was asked twice about the possible target, as they say this is the command center, and this is like where the resistant hide. And he was asked that, will you it will be will it be possible that you will target these buildings, target these hospitals? I mean, would you bomb it? And he was trying to like avoid this question, and he was saying that we know that they are hiding there. You know, we have evidence. And she asked him again. She asked him that the same question. She said, will it be like a target you can bomb?" And he answered exactly, anything could happen. Anything would happen. So I saw that, and then I said, I better go do the round very quickly and, come back to my patient here before they really reach this time or to bomb. It was like I was telling my friends, like it was a joke, but it was really a real threat to bomb hospitals. And to be honest, I was doing the rounds and go through patient and looking at them, and I wonder, did they see the news? Did they see this question? Did they see the announcement that they will target hospital, mob hospital? They are just came here, most of them seeking shelter, and even the ones who had like surgery or finished their treatment, they won't go home. They won't go home because one, either they don't have home because what was destroyed or in a place that completely invaded, or either they are afraid to go anywhere else and take shelter in the most safe one place that anyone could think of. So I remember that day, and I was doing the round, and then I went to OT, and I was really assured, because I was really assured because I found everyone was still working, no chaos, no fears. They were they were working the same way and trying to provide service for everyone as they can, and nothing changed that day. And I knew that whatever happens, I will try to keep doing my job. And and after what I have been through, I knew if my time's up, it's gonna be me. But if it's not meant to be, it's not gonna happen.
So then the round invasion starts. I think at the very end of October, beginning of November, um, and you stayed in Al-Shifa. Your family had gone to the further south to escape. Your family's from Gaza City,
Yeah,
yes,
you
and
city.
so can you describe the decision to go south, and what were the threats you were facing? What was that like? The actual experience of going south, knowing that of course people are being bombed along the way. There are the checkpoints where the Israelis are disappearing people and executing them, and this kind of thing. So just take us through that, please.
So yeah, before the start of the beginning of the ground invasion, the way was opened like to anyone to go through to the south. I mean, there was bombing for these people, trying to just get revenge from these people, and people were just so confused. You are asking us to go south, and then you are bombing us with tens and hundreds of people dying on the roads. And then my family decided after 1 week, I remember they called me and they said that we are now discussing going south. My father, my uncles, and they are trying to find a solution. Is it better to stay or go south? And everyone was going south. So I told them I can't say anything. I was in the hospital actually at that time. After 1 week, I'm not able to go home. So I was like that week I was spent in the time in the hospital. And I last time I heard from my father, he was saying that we are going to the south. That like 1 day or 2 days before they go south. So he didn't mention it later on. And then the after 2 days, I went home to just change my clothes, take some rest, and go back the other day, the other morning. So I went home and I found my home that was opened, and there was no one in the home from my family. And I was thinking, what happened? I didn't know that they went south in the very particular day. And I found some other people inside the house. Actually, they were relatives, and I knew that they came to take shelter to in our home, which is comparing to their area is better in terms of safety, but it wasn't also safe. But they can't, go more. So at that time, we had no communication in the hospital. There was no coverage for cell phones or internet. So my father, my uncles, they all went south, and I remember that it was so hard for me to think what's better and tell him anything. So I decided that to tell nothing and let them take the decision. And I knew that the time that there's no right way or no right decision can be made. It's just you can try to find better way or the best for you, but it never the safest or it never the right way, because they were, getting bombed inside Gaza, in the middle area, in the south. There was no place safe, and that's where they were bombed. Where they displaced. That's where the bombing was taking place, and my brother was killed in there. So there was no place to go there to go to, and there is no right decision. I mean, my uncle came back after he went to the middle area from my aunt's house, and he came back home, and then he was taken prisoner with his siblings. So there was no right decision to take.
So, at what date did you go south? And yeah, talk about your final decision to go south. I mean, were you forced at gunpoint to go? How exactly did that happen?
Yeah, well, as I told you before, I went to the night that night they put siege to the Shifa hospital. We decided to go with my two friends, the colleagues. We decided to go home like because there was a lot of quadcopters and burning of the tents. Let me tell you about the night before that. It was full. It was full of refugees, full of displaced people. It was like about 60,000 people inside the medical complex. It's 60,000. Can you imagine 60,000 in just the hospital?
Yes, and I've
So
and I mean I've been to, I've spent time in Al-Shifa. It's a big hospital, but by maybe, American standards, it's a big hospital for Gaza, but for Western standards, I don't it's not like, you're talking about a town. I mean, 60,000 people, that's inconceivable, that amount of people.
yeah, that's but just to give a picture or the idea of how about the how crowded it is in there. It was like no place to just sit or to stand. You just keep moving, and at night you can maybe walk without hitting someone or someone hits you. So you know at that night there was burning of the tents. There was shooting, and if you remember, they shot a bunch of journalists, and one of them killed and the other injured. Well, one of them they were just live, got his leg cut.
Leg cut off. I know exactly
Yeah,
what you're talking about. I
yeah,
remember precisely that night the Israelis dropped the name escapes me right now, but a certain type of missile that it sends out blades instead of an
exactly.
explosion, and it killed one and cut another's leg off.
Yeah, that's it. So at that night, after that night, they also at the early morning they hit some tents and burned it. So and the quadcopter just came everywhere to shoot people, and we were just hearing the bullets around us just make sounds. The while it passes so near to the department. One of the windows we are in the room we are sleeping in, and we are like nine doctors in the same room sleeping in there, and it was like it hit the come through the window, destroyed the window and came through, and that at that morning there was no one in the hospital for the refugees and displaced people. Can you imagine 60,000 in the night? And we are complaining about everything that they are causing, and making things difficult because we can't do our work. We can't do, we have people in the OT taking shelter outside in the ward and in the ward and the corridors. It was hard for us to deal with this kind of I mean, even the toilet we couldn't get access to the toilet. This is the simplest thing that we are talking about. So it was suddenly no one was in the hospital. No one, I mean, no one. It's like, in the movie, there's just, wind throwing the leftovers of the people there, and just hearing the sound of the bullets from the quadcopter. It was really, horrific. And we decided that we can go for a night to the adjacent neighborhood where my friend's family was there, and we spent the night. And we said that after the quadcopter stops and the situation get better, we can go back. And then the next day, I called the hospital, and I asked for an ambulance to come to pick me up to take me to the hospital, because while we were moving, we've seen a lot of dead bodies in the streets, and it was really dangerous. After we arrived to the destination, we knew that wasn't a very smart move to go on foot to the other neighborhood. So I asked for an ambulance to come to pick me up, and they said, "We are sorry, but there is no ambulance out, no ambulance in." So at that point, I decided that it must be like a siege, and the tanks have arrived on the door of the hospital. Even when I get out, everyone started to ask me, how did you get out in that particular day? Because the tanks, the shooting, the killing was massive, and I didn't know. We only went out. We have no news, no awareness of what's going on, and we just take this road, and we didn't know. But I mean, it must be like was the safest road we got in. So we decided the next day that we move south to continue work in the other hospitals in the south, because we can't go back. So while on the way, we walked for a long time, and it was like from 10 to 12 to 2 p.m. So we had to walk for like 1 hour, and then we came like 1 hour before it's shut down and no one can move, and we took like another 1 hour inside in the line going through the checkpoints. The checkpoints were considered of uh, this big hills, and on each side a lot of tanks and bulldozers, many quadcopters, in low distances, trying to identify, taking pictures, trying to identify anyone. And then we finally were at this part of the road where is a lot of soldiers and tanks on the side. And I remember seeing this old guy coming out from one of these, from beside one of these hills, and he was very old. He couldn't barely, walk, and he was naked. He just had underwear on him, and his wife was waiting for him, and he was, before it was blindfolded, and then they let him go, and he came back to his wife. I don't know how many days or how many hours did he spend in there, But then I found out that they are shouting, and each one with what describing what he wears. Like, you with the black shirt, you with the red t-shirt, you come here. They pick up anyone they want, and then I start moving, and everyone was crying. Like, they are hysterically crying. I mean, the situation, especially kids and women, they are so much afraid, terrified. It's like you never see this in like a nightmare. And I was trying to calm these kids down, and they said that don't worry, it's gonna be okay. You have to keep moving. And I've heard a lot of story of people just start losing it and leaving their children, couldn't like go back to pick up their children from the fear that they will target them. So then I remember that I was about to go out of this line, and it was like the end of it. And if you pass through this, you are out and you can go south. And it was like 1 hour, and no one just called me out. And then this guy started to shout at me with what I wear, and I thought it wasn't me. Like, it must be someone else. He just came like in the line because I spent a lot of time. If they want me, it could be like they could choose me and call for me out. So one call, second call, and the third call, he said with the one with the white shirt who's bald, So I knew that was me. So I turned around, I came back, and I put my bag on the floor, and I sat on the sound as everyone else. There was about six of us. I sat on the ground and putting my hand on the air, and my ID next in one hand. And then I spent like about 3 hours. I spent 1 hour in the same side, and then they moved us to another side, just in front of them. The snipers were a lot pointing at us, and then the tanks were passing by just less than a meter beside us. It's part of the, you know, I, no one can, no one can move, from fear and from, fear they would like think he's doing something or run away. No one would, move an inch because while the tank, this big tank, moving beside him. So afterward, these sometimes these soldiers comes suddenly out and start shouting and moving their guns against us, just try to fear someone, to see who will run away, will be afraid or run away. I don't know really till this point what they are doing, but many times they just go out, do things, and go back. And then they put us in one line, and I was going to be first because I wanted to get over with it. And I knew that everyone they just take him behind the hill and blindfold him and put chain cuffs in his hand behind his back. Just after they get their clothes off, and then they take him away, to city man, to any prison. So I knew that this time I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna, yep. Do you hear me?
Yeah, it cut out for just a second, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So
You
I
said
knew
so this
the
time.
by seeing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I knew that this is the pathway we all have to take. Like, get off our clothes, go behind the hill, and they will blindfold us and handcuff us. And then I don't know what will happen then. But I decided that I will go through this and just don't want to wait anymore to know where I'm going. So I went in the first line, and then the soldier called for another one with the one who has injury in his leg and couldn't move. So he called him in the first line, the first one of the in the line, and he had some drugs or medication in his pocket, and he tried to pull them out, and he was shouting at him. At this time, I thought they were gonna shoot us, and if they shoot at the first one, everyone gonna get hit. So he showed him that he has medication. So he decided to check up on him, and then he called him in to investigate him and or to talk to him. I don't know, or to take him in. So after half an hour or 1 hour, they called at me, and I don't remember. I didn't understand what did he say, but I think he said you can go home like anyway, or continue. You can go. So I didn't understand or hear it, but I've understood that by the people behind me were saying things like, "You are free, pray for us and good luck." That's where I knew that I have to go. So I continue my way. I found my friend. I was so happy that they waited. They didn't tell my family. I was taken, I was detained, because that would be very awful to hear for my father, who has already lost a son. So yeah, that's just day full of details, full of hard things, and also full of blessings.
Which language were the Israeli soldiers addressing you and the others in?
Yeah, they had some, Arabic accent. They had someone who from, I think he has like Bedouin, or has some Arabic with an accent that is not seems to be like real Arabic one, or Palestinian, or anything, but they are talking all the time in Hebrew. So yeah, it was, you can hear some were talking from away, but it was one guy who's shouting and picking out the people he wants. Also, a lot of snipers. Uh, yeah, a lot of snipers and quadcopters were flying around. Cameras also to identify any people to know. Uh, but yeah, I mean, yeah, a lot of people, the soldier were there, many nationality, or I guess many shapes, and also there were people on the bulldozers and the tanks. Yeah, it was like that.
So then you made it to your extended family's house in Khan Yunis, I believe, and continued to work in another hospital. Then, yes.
Yeah, I went to Nusayrat, which is in the middle area. I went to my aunt's house, where my father was there, and my others, cousins, and my other uncle left that place to go to another place after the many injury he had, and he lost everything also. And yeah, I went there, and I saw my father, who was like very emotional to see me after that while. And as I told you, I was so happy that my friends didn't call him and tell him that I was detained, because after like hours I was home. Thankfully, I don't know how it would be for him to hear the news. And then I decided to go to the European hospital, where is two of my colleague friends from the ICRC. I worked with him in Gaza before, and they were desperately trying to go north to come to the Shifa hospital to help. And it was like, no way, they tried a lot. These people are so, trying to help us. That I know them for about 3 years before the escalation of the war, the genocide started. Actually, in the war in the 2021, they came to help, and we stayed in contact all the time. And when they came back in during the war, I was always in contact with them because I wanted to hear that if they could come to the north, it would be like a good news, look, reassuring that there would be like uh, it's close to like end of this, and we didn't know it's gonna be a long time and no one will come. So I was always in contact with them, sharing, the situation on ground, and they were dealing with many patients in the European Egypt hospital, and yeah, it was like. So much work they have in there, and I had to go to help, and so I decided to go to this EGH, the European Gaza Hospital, and I found them, and we saw each other, started working on the many cases, like burn patients. They had like over 100, 150 patients of burn patients. They do every day they do surgery on them. So I started working with them there, and then they had to leave because it's a temporary allowance. They have to leave and come back. So I started working with their cases, also in complete contact with them. And this one of them is Tom Potikar. Maybe you have seen a video for him talking about the situation in the Gaza Strip, and the children, and the cases he was dealing with. And the other is Susan Cerny, also a very good nurse, and she's really they were dying to get through. They are the first ones to get inside, so that was like a good thing to work with them, to help our patients to keep like continuity, dealing with our patients, because they had to leave, and that time there was no other plastics and burn surgeon there in the European Gaza Hospital to work with these patients. So I stayed there for a long time. So I was every now and then going back to my aunt's house to have some dinner, because there was no food in the hospital. I was every day on just two dates and one bucket of juice for the whole day, every day. So I didn't actually think about that, because I was already in a period on the Gaza, in the Shifa hospital. I wasn't thinking about what's going on, and if this is the situation, and it was like not in the consideration, in comparing to the disasters and the horrific scene we are seeing, and the many issues. Like food was the second or third, or less of importance than the situation we had in there. So everything was so hard. So at that time, I couldn't have any food except for these 3 dates, or 2 dates or 3 dates. So, and the pack of juice, the bottle of juice I had every day. I didn't know that this is, gonna be for a long time. I thought that's just in the hospital. I didn't know that people there, everyone didn't have food. Even the NGOs inside Gaza Hospital, if you talk to any one of them, that period, they have lost 10 to 15 kilos of their body weight. And yeah, I was going to see my aunt every now and then, in the my family, in their home, and that's where I asked them to just prepare any meal I can eat, whenever I have chance. So that's after a long time, I had started to have like muscle spasm, and like something like stiff muscles, and especially in the morning and in the night after finishing work. There was no good food, no vitamins, nothing healthy we can eat. So I started to have weakness. I've lost like 16 kilos at the first 2 months of my body weight, and I've started to have difficulty in the morning to move out of bed. So yeah, it was a very difficult situation for many months, until we had someone brought some multivitamins with him from outside, and it was the first time I really had this effect from multivitamins. I never thought it would be like useful, but yeah, it was when you think about how they used famine to just starve us during that time. You don't think about it too much during that time, but afterward it was like that's so huge, man. It's really difficult to think that you were put through famine and starvation just to break you down and make you or kill you and make you unable to do anything. So that wasn't the like a big thinking space in my head, but later on, whenever I think about it, it's really not easy to do that. And we thought that like there is nothing in the markets or difficulty, and then you really know that this is like a programmed and designed program to put everyone to famine. And yeah, and after a while, I had to bring my father and brother to my place in the hospital because they have hit the two adjacent buildings that's next to my aunt's house where they are, and the last strike destroyed completely the house. I mean, when I went there, they called me to say that there was two strikes, and I didn't know anything about that. Because there is no internet, no communication. I was so unlucky with the communication and the cell phone. I didn't have any coverage. So once I could go out and have a phone call with them, and they said so, and I asked them, "What the hell? When that happened? When did that happen?" And they said that it just was last night and this morning, two attacks, and the house was completely out of service and they couldn't stay there. And I was like going, mad, thinking about the same thing happened the previous one. And I took a car from outside, a taxi, and went there because they didn't have any way to go to the further south. And when I saw the house, it was completely destroyed from outside. Just some, blocks standing, and it was completely destroyed. The walls, the outer was completely destroyed. So I took them with me to the hospital. They stayed for like 5 months and there with me. It was really hard to see my father, my brother living through this and having, to go through everything, every day, difficulties and, the daily life of this situation. You can't imagine. You can't think of the details of one man or a family live through many details through the day. You have a lot of issues. You wouldn't think of it. Like, when to sleep, how to get water, and when to go to the toilet, and whenever, like every now, every 1 week or more, you can get a shower, and there is no water, and there is a lot of issues concerning who's going to the toilet and when. I mean, these details, you will never think about it. You will never imagine it. So even also, not to mention the food is like no food was there. Everything is canned food only, and it was really high price. So we eat the same canned food every day, and it was so hard to make fire or get bread. At first, 2 or 3 months there was no bread, no flour, so you can't do any bread. You can't get any bread. Sometimes you can get some from the neighbors or from the someone in the hospital. If you really know someone, they can give you some bread. And yeah, it was really very very difficult times.
Yeah, I mean, when you say I can't imagine it, it's exactly that. I don't think, as I spent several months in Gaza, and during the 2014 war, from then until 2017, and still, even knowing what Gaza felt like then, there's just no way for anyone to imagine the level of suffering that Gaza is still going through. And it's not as if today is just as bad as the beginning, especially in
It
the
was.
north is under. So it's, I mean, we're 13 for going on 14 months into this. So you eventually managed to get to Egypt. Can you talk about the decision to go to Egypt? That anything important about that process?
Yeah, well, my family tried from day one to get my father, my brother, and including me, to get them out. And I've stayed in the Shifa hospital from the first day, and I refused to go out because I knew that I can't go out. I can't leave my patients, and I can't leave the hospital. It's time for me to stay. So they decided to go south, and many actually of my neighbors, my relatives, my friends went south. I stayed there. I lost communication with all of them because I didn't have any way of communication, no cell phone coverage, no internet, or that most of the time. So after that, I refused to go out, and I accepted that. I insisted that my father, my brother would, if they get the chance to go out, it would be really relieving knowing that they are safe. And then they started like saying that my father also refused to leave. He refused the idea at all at first. And then when my sisters and my brothers outside insisted that he should leave, and the situation was unbearable inside the hospital later on. And I was always trying to convince him to go, and he was refusing all the time, saying that either we go together or we stay together. So after a lot of take and give, and a lot of difficulty as to try to have a way outside, because of the many problems and the waiting list and the lot of money you have to pay to get out for each one. So they decided that we can go. We would go, and they put our names, and they were waiting, and we were waiting for it. I mean, I tried to stay and to find a way to stay, and there was no way that we stay with to the hospital. And then a lot of issues happened with the place we are staying at, actually, and we were threatened to be out, for any reason, to extend the hospital, to use our place in as a part of the hospital, or using as a department. So then we decided to go, and on the end of beginning of March, mainly, we went through the crossing, and it was like very weird experience. It is something that I can't describe actually, but it's being inside Gaza, and once you are crossing the border, it's like nothing is going on, and you are safe. Just 1 meter you're crossing, or a couple of meters you're crossing through the borders. It's just from genocide to life. And you want anyone would think about it, and they would want to like imagine exactly what the feeling. I don't know how to describe the feeling, but it's just being inside genocide. And every meter you cross or move inside Gaza, you would expect a bomb or shrapnel, or be killed or injured anytime, anywhere. So once you crossing this crossing checkpoint, you are safe. So that this is like, what the hell? What the hell happened? Just we crossed this checkpoint, we are now safe, and everyone inside is gonna either die or get injured or starve to death. It was at first like, yeah, it's a good thing that we are going out. My concern was my family first, my father and brother, because they are really can't cope with the situation and they are not used to it. And then I was really afraid of getting injured. It was really, really scary to me. I mean, I don't mind death at all. I mean, that would be really relieving. But injury was like a condemned to suffer the whole life, because no one can be treated in that situation in a good way. And most of the time, we have to amputate limbs and we have to close the wound and to go through infection and a lot of complications, to even to the burns, to the many things. So yeah, going through to Egypt was like, I thought it's gonna be like relieving to my family, to me, to be just to catch a breath and go back to Gaza when it's ever. I mean, news was at that point that a ceasefire will be happening soon. So unless we have like somewhere to go in with my family to have a home or something inside Gaza, we can stay in Egypt, and after that I can go like alone to Gaza to help. So I went to Egypt, and it was like really depressing leaving Gaza. Really, really depressing. If you ask anyone who went through to Gaza to Egypt, he said like you would think it's gonna be better going from genocide to safety, but it's not. It's, I mean, it is absolutely you know not comparing to the ones inside Gaza at all. But mentally, it was so hard to accept that people are still dying, and you know exactly what they are getting through, and they have what they are facing. Knowing exactly what they are facing, it's just like feeling guilty every hour, every day, feeling guilty that you are out and they are in. I mean, these are our brothers, and you have the chance to go out, but they didn't. So, sorry. So this is like very, hard to take in. So after that, I tried to, compensate. I spent a lot of time just to concentrate on my mental health, just to not to lose it. So yeah, it was like maybe recently when I was able to come to Lebanon to help here. I just have a little bit of just some encouraging, some bitter, spirit and mental condition that I can help somehow. I couldn't go to Gaza. I couldn't come back to Gaza, but I'm now trying to help people here. So yeah, I spent a lot of time just trying to keep myself sane and to try to deal. Also, my family had a lot to deal with during this period. It's a lot of stress, a lot of thinking after what we have gone through. It's not easy to stay, normal and think normal. You have the past, you have the present, and the future. All of it's just destroyed and just in front of your eyes. And yeah, so I spent a lot of time in Egypt, and then I had this call, and my colleague, this Dr. Tom, he was the professor, Dr. Tom. He was a chief surgeon of ICRC, and he left actually ICRC for some, I can't say the reason, but he left them with the intention to help more to Gaza and to Palestinian people, and also Lebanon. So yeah, and then he called me and he said, "What you are up to and what you are doing in Egypt. And I said, I didn't have much. I was starting some trials to do some practice, private practice, and the situation was so bad and so difficult in Egypt to work when you have to know the residency. You're just there to just stay alive. That's it. You can't work, can't do anything. You can't go back. And he said, "Yeah, we are trying to start this mission and this project in Lebanon, and we would love to join you to join us to help with this." The project here is about initiating and developing a burn unit inside Lebanon. Uh, the situation in Lebanon is very difficult, and there's no main burn unit in all of Lebanon that can serve people, injured burn victims. It is one hospital in Beirut, and it's not governmental; it's private, and people can't afford it. So we had this mission to start developing this unit in here. It's a massive hospital. It hasn't been opened yet. Still, we arrived, and Tom and others, including me, put a lot of work in this hospital. Try to manage from scratch. Literally from nothing, putting everything we need or the unit needs from literally A to Z, and then starting to have patients for the first time in this hospital. And we had the first patient on the 5th of November, after spending a lot of time doing the preparations, the supplies, the equipment, the surgical room, the ER, the ED, or the emergency department also. So we had our first patients on 5th of November, or maybe the second, I think 5th of November, yeah. And it was the first patient in the history of this hospital, because it was closed for many years because of some issues of the funding, the working capacity. And now we have three patients in the ICU, the burn ICU in here, and we have a lot of patients coming for follow-up and for surgery every day now, and ER as emergency. We start slowly get a lot of patients now. We have now phase one is gonna be like having just 4 beds and 5 beds max, to just make sure that we have the ability to serve them first and to see what errors we have, that what difficulty we face, and then starting the opening the big ward in same hospital here to serve as many as we can. Tom and the other lead nurse, Dominique, our colleague, left 1 week ago, and I'm now taking over the work here in the burn unit. We have a lot of work. We have now increasingly having more cases inside the hospital, and it's just dramatically increase of the patients suddenly. And it's just a temporarily and just initiation, and it has a lot of difficulties concerning the staff, concerning training, also to the local staff, concerning OT, the schedule, the clock, everything is just being developed from scratch.
I can't imagine how, I don't know, was it a difficult decision? I mean, it must have been for your family even to leave. I mean, even though the situation in Egypt was not good, you couldn't work, but you are safe at least from airstrikes, and you went from Gaza, even though you couldn't return to Gaza after Israel occupied and destroyed the Rafah crossing. Still a difficult decision to go to Lebanon, which of course is under, the Israelis are applying the same methods of destruction and killing of medical professionals to Lebanon.
Yeah, well, it's really like it has a lot of ways to think about it because one way is I'm out from Gaza, from the destruction, the killing, the danger all the time, going to the another war with the same, predator that kills everyone, kills target anything, any hospital. He's just precisely targeting hospitals. And then to think about it, I went out from danger to go out to go in for another dangerous place. But after I told you, after this long time of you know thinking, depression, and big load of what happened and what happened later, and the situation I had in Egypt, I didn't think twice actually. Once he called me, he said, "We need your help in Saida in Lebanon." I didn't think twice. Actually, I said yes at once, and I told him that I am free at what time you have and what schedule for whatever long or whatever the duration. And also I really I would go with this man for anywhere. I know that he would help, so I didn't think twice. And when I came here, I knew that this is not to make things less here, but nothing compared to Gaza is where I am now. Not talking about the south and what's going on in the southern villages and cities, because it's a big destruction. It's a lot. But people here, have a lot of stress, a lot of bombings, sounds, strikes around inside and around Saida. They are so afraid of the coming and what will happen, and they see it. They saw what happened in Gaza. In Gaza, it seems like they put like just an example for everyone that this is what's going to have to happen to everyone. So that's what people are they're just seeing, that they are so afraid, and they don't want this to happen to them. And even though I feel, here I don't feel, unsafe. I know it's not safe, but I don't think of that because I've been through a lot of more than this, and not to compare things, but this is nothing like compared to Gaza and the situation we were in. I mean, yeah, it is really bad. The economical status is so bad in here. The people have suffered a lot during the past 4 years of the economy, and they already have a lot of problems. And to add this war to them, and the coming days, what will happen the coming days? It's gonna be maybe a lot of more escalation. Maybe they will just target more cities now. So yeah, I mean, and not to compare, but just I don't think of that. Just that's what we do. This is our job. We are humanitarian workers, and this is what we do. Actually, we don't go to places where it's safe or people don't need help. No, we go to places where people need help, and we even offer to go to the frontline hospitals, but we couldn't have the permission because of the security issue and the danger there. So I would not hesitate once to go any hospital that needs my help. And I know there's a lot of shortage of physician and surgeon in Lebanon, a lot of shortages. We had zero local staff yet to be joining us now because this is a new hospital and there's already shortages in other hospital. But we are hoping we have at least some surgeons or junior surgeon to join us so we can train them, to give them the proper training and the to be for them to be able to continue our work after we finish our work in here.
Well, I think you summarized the just complete insanity of the situation perfectly when you said frontline hospitals. there's just this concept of a hospital on the front line that is more likely to be bombed is just something unfathomable and should be completely unacceptable to the world. But unfortunately, Gaza, Lebanon are forced into this situation by the Israel and its enablers, its backers here in the U.S. and in Europe. I just want to commend the incredible bravery of you and your colleagues, and this is the everyday bravery of people in Gaza, people in Lebanon, all over throughout the region, resisting however they can against this genocidal machine. Um, and so I just, it's an honor to be able to speak with you, and I pray to God that you'll be protected and your family will be protected, and a ceasefire and justice will come soon. So I can't thank you enough for taking the time while you're at the hospital. We actually delayed the interview because you're taking care of patients. So taking time from your busy day, your busy evening to do this interview. So Dr. Mohammed Ziara from Gaza, now in Lebanon, saving lives there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dan. It's really always a pleasure. And as I told you, it's just we are doing our part, and it is a small part that we have to do, and it's not honoring us at all. Just we are honored to serve these people. This is the least thing to return to the favor to anyone who suffered this war, this machine, and you know, just making sure that we can help any number of patients that and people injured that they don't have the chance to be treated, and it will be always our duty, and I will be always happy to do that anytime. And thank you for your hospitality. Thank you.
Thank you.